Hello and welcome to Evolve Yourself podcast. I'm Lahaina. I'm an embodiment and confidence coach, and I'll be your host today. I'm here to share my learnings and life experiences in order to create thought-provoking conversation in a variety of topics, from healing, coaching modalities, to health hacks, and even entrepreneurial tips. This is a place for inspiration, sharing, learning, questioning, and exploration to lead you to your next breakthrough and the path to evolve yourself. I love this title. So, just to share with you guys, this is my third podcast episode, and I don't really prepare or practice before coming on the recording. I do have some notes that I want to follow through just to make sure I cover all areas in some sort of practical sequence to help you understand what I'm talking about. But basically, this is very much spontaneous, an spontaneous conversation. And as always, I would say I'd love to hear from you. Any questions or even your opinion about what I'm talking about, please make sure to contact me. And you have the links to my social media profiles on the podcast. So today, my question and what I want to talk about is the Landmark Forum a cult? So I'm actually quite nervous to talk about this because even more than talking about spirituality or sexuality, working with plant medicine, the Landmark Forum has such a bad rap. I've heard so many weird things about it. And I really wanted to bring this topic to this conversation. So let's go through some definitions to start with. So from the Landmark education website, it says the Landmark Forum offers a practical methodology for producing breakthroughs in people's lives. The Landmark Forum is designed to bring about positive, permanent shifts in the quality of your life. These shifts are the direct cause for a new and unique kind of freedom and power. The freedom to be at ease and the power to be effective in the areas that matter most to you. The quality of your relationships, the confidence with which you live your life, your personal productivity, your experience of the difference you make, and your enjoyment of life. Cool. So far, so good. What is the definition of a cult? So from the dictionary, the two first ones that come up, the first one is related to religion. So this is definitely not related to any religion. The second one says a great devotion to a person, idea, object, movement, or work, such as a film or a book. Okay, cool. And then another definition that I found online says, because I was like, why cult, the word cult also has such a bad rap? Why is it related to something bad or negative or crazy? Or, like we pictured the worst case scenario and then people make fun of it and whatnot. So one of the definitions says the word cult is defined as a system or group of people who practices excessive devotion to a figure, object, or belief system, typically following a charismatic leader. So when I came across this, I was like, okay, I understand how this brings more of a negative perception because it's excessive devotion, right? So anything that is excessive, it would be extreme, and in my perception is not very healthy. But when it talks about typically following a charismatic leader, again, I'm like, is not related to Landmark because Landmark is a brand. So it's more like a corporate brand. There's no particular leader in this institution. No one is famous. So there's a bunch of people that work there and lead the courses, but not a particular person. Okay, so what has been my personal experience? So I came across the Landmark Forum in 2017. And I remember back then, if you would look at my life, it looked like everything was fine. Everyone's like, you're beautiful. I had a decent job. I think I was working in human resources. I had a decent job, decent pay, was living with two friends. I used to travel so much all around the world. I used to party a lot. I am a very vibrant person and I had a very vibrant life. But if I'm being really honest with you, deep down, I felt no sense of purpose. I was waking up every day like, is this it? Why am I here? Where am I going? I really, looking back now, I feel like I had no sense of purpose or direction. And I was enjoying every day. But yeah, deep down, I felt a little bit sad or dead inside or numb. And I really didn't know what to do. So I came back from holidays in Brazil seeing my family, and I was sharing with my friend, and my friend was like, you have to do this thing, you have to do this thing, you have to come with me, you have to do this thing. And she couldn't even explain what was it. And I was so confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, actually, there's an introduction evening that you can come and find out more. So it's like, I did this course and this happened. And she was sharing with me all the results that she got from it. I was like, okay. So I came, and basically it's a 3-hour induction session that they talk about a little bit about the program, but to be honest, you don't even know what the program is about. What they talk to the audience is about, and this was a room full of people, I don't know, maybe 50 or 100 people. So they start asking questions. For example, do you wake up every day and snooze your alarm like 5 times, 10 times? And I was like, yeah. Do you feel like when you are, the only time they have some peace and quiet is when you under the shower, like in the shower, or when you driving your car and you're putting some music that you love? And I was like, yeah. So basically every question they had, I could relate to it, and I could feel how unsatisfied I was with my life, even when everything looked fine. So I registered straight away. I was super curious, and this is how I grow in my life. I didn't do any research. I didn't ask much about, what's going to happen with the course. It was a 3-day course, $850, I think. And especially because my friend took me there and she said, I really, this is awesome. You should do it. I just trusted her. I trust my intuition. I felt so connected to what they were saying, and I registered. So a month later, I came to the course, and it's a full 3-day workshop that you're there from like, I don't know, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it's really long days with a few short breaks. I was in this room with 150 people. They don't give you any notebooks or anything to hold or take notes. They actually ask you not to take notes. And everything happens in conversation. So if you look at the definition of what is coaching, coaching is actually thought-provoking conversation between the coach and the client, and really important questions that will get the client to have breakthroughs. So what do I mean by breakthroughs? Is that light bulb moment. It's, even in spirituality, is bringing to conscious something that was on your unconscious. And that's huge, because we talk about our blind spots. So, when everyone can see something about you and you cannot, like you swear to God, no, that's not me. But everyone, your family and friends and everyone close to you can actually see that trait or that way that you've been acting or that thing that you've been avoiding. And you cannot see it. It's called a blind spot. And this is something that is operating on your subconscious mind. And, it could be most of your patterns, your behaviors, your results, your actions. So this is so important to understand. And yeah, so there is a course leader, this person, he was a coach, and he's going through all these particular topics, and obviously they create in a way that it builds up during the day and during the weekend. And so they bring all these really important topics, and then all these questions for you to look into your life and how am I behaving, what am I doing, what's not working, how I would like to be, and you start opening up to new ideas. And all that happens is that for most exercises, you share with the person next to you. So whatever comes up for you, you connect with the person sitting next to you, and there is a sharing. So that's it, which is really interesting, right? I spent 3 days listening and talking. And I tell you, the moment I left the Landmark Forum, I was so happy. I was the happiest I have ever been for at least 2 weeks. I just felt so light. I felt so happy. I felt so grateful. I was smiling at people in the street. And you know how they say when you shift your vibration or your attitude or how you're feeling, people around you shift. So I remember walking down the street and people laughing at me or like smiling at me and being really like saying hi. Um, I remember driving my car and I put the music down because actually it was so nice to just be in silent, just be with myself and just be calm. Because until that point, I would blast the music because it was almost like I need this music to keep going or to survive or to give me a boost of energy. So, what did I discover throughout the 3 days? It's hard to pinpoint and give you particular, the actual examples. And it was 5 years ago now. But I remember I could look at my life and see how resentful I was with some people and circumstances. And like I said, it was such a big blind spot. I could have not seen that before. And in the moment that you acknowledge something that was a blind spot, there is already a big release and a big healing just by you acknowledging something. The second part, they do give you a bit of homework, which is actually communicating with people involved. So you make phone calls, you write letters, however you can communicate with that person and have a really honest and vulnerable conversation at this point. I realized how I was blaming the world for my current reality. And in the end, what I realized is that I was so stuck into a box. And that's what we call our limiting beliefs and how we limit ourselves, because I was creating all these limitations for myself that they were not real. They were in my head. For example, one of them I remember being, I'm not rich or successful. And I was 35 at this stage in my life because I'm not rich or successful because, I don't come from a rich family. Things were hard for me. My parents never gave me a car or an apartment. And I always had to fight for myself. And in that weekend, I realized like, this is BS. How many people come from such more challenging backgrounds than me and they are thriving and succeeding and making a lot of money. So why am I letting this sort of belief hold me back? And you might relate to this. I had lots of beliefs like, I can't do this. I need more qualifications. I need more confidence. I need to do so much. And I see a lot of people trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, with their career, with their life purpose, with their, I don't know what's out there for them. And they're trying to figure out everything. And they say, I don't want to study. I don't want to do this. I don't want to invest money. I don't want to have to do that. And obviously, this is the biggest block ever, because if you're not willing to take action and do something different, that means you're comfortable with your shitty life. You're comfortable with the uncomfortable. And you've been there for so long that you're not willing to do anything else. So I was always willing to study in the evenings, working full time, invest more money in myself, trying to figure things out, take action, be willing to fail. And I feel like the Landmark Farm really just opened up my views of the world and what's possible and of myself to actually be a bit more bold. And when I go back to the statement that I read from their website, I do agree and feel that this course creates opportunity for some shifts in your life. They are that provide you with the freedom. So it says the freedom to be at ease and the power to be effective. Right. And then it goes on to mention your relationships. Yes, you have more freedom to speak your truth. You have more confidence. You can improve your relationships. You can be more vulnerable because they do create this beautiful container for 3 days that you're so vulnerable. And what that means is that you get to practice there and then you get to go out in the world and try similar things, right? Having a really confronting and vulnerable conversation. Definitely the confidence in which you live your life, your personal productivity. So a lot of people do this type of course for their professional development and they improve like, I don't know, 1,000% productivity and results at work and finances. You experience the difference that you make. I'll get there in a second, and your enjoyment of life. So like I said, I did have the happiest 2 weeks of my life when I left. And I even remember I didn't drink alcohol for about a month. after I finished the Landmark Farm. And that again was such a big thing for me because, you know, I used to love having that glass of wine every night and drinking a lot on the weekends. And I can see now that that's always a way to numb out and to try to fix something with that band-aid, which is, you know, drugs and alcohol and partying. And again, when I talk about that, I used to travel a lot and party on the weekends. It's almost like I used to live for those moments. So I don't know if you relate to this, but it might be that, you know, Monday to Friday, you're just pushing through. I remember thinking about my job was just a job to bring in money, to pay for bills, so I can go and travel, so I can go and party on the weekend with my friends. And to be honest, now looking back, I think that's not a way to live at all. Okay. So I hope this gives you a little bit of an understanding, at least from my personal results and personal experience. I want to talk about getting a little bit into about why the Landmark has such a bad rap is because the way that they create their networking and their marketing and the, you know, bringing in new clients is all about you sharing with your family and friends and bringing in people to their events that will possibly sign up and become their clients. So there's a little bit of like the network marketing and the marketing strategy that they use. It feels a bit old. And what happens is you can't shut up about the Landmark Forum when you finish. So first of all, because you do get such an impactful, I don't know, transformation or change or opportunity, whatever you want to call it. And then you go home and you can't shut up about it. So that's number one. And how is that different from when you watch a really great movie or go to a great restaurant and you want all your friends to go and experience, right? And you can't shut up about it for a couple of weeks. This is no different. So you found something really cool that is really transformational. Why would you not be inviting your friends and family? My question here is, why do family and friends love when you're telling them about a new restaurant, a new movie, a new clothing shop, whatever it is? They absolutely love it. They're like, oh yeah, let me check it out. But when you're talking about personal development and transformation, spirituality, and an opportunity to change your life, people get really weird about it. So I think this is, for me, is the biggest gap about Landmark having a bad rep. Is like, are you fucking serious? As soon as I tell anyone, it's so, people get so weird and they get defensive and they don't want to hear about it and they think you're weird. I'm like, why? How is this different? So I want to talk about a little bit about what I said about sharing. So Landmark creates for the participants that actually your transformation lives in your sharing. And I do think so also, because you know that the more that you talk about something, the more that becomes part of who you are. If you tell the same sad story over and over and over and over again, you're going to be so into that story that that's your full reality. So when you have a huge breakthrough, when you find your blind spot, when you have an amazing transformation, when you have an amazing time, and you get to share that with your friends and family over and over and over again, that gets bigger and that gets more settled in your body and your, you know, your brain and your body and your ways of being. So I totally agreed with the encouragement to share your transformation, and that actually your transformation lives in the sharing. Because if you don't tell anyone and that's just your thing, that will fade away so quickly. And that's also why I'm such a big advocate for being vulnerable, because when you're vulnerable with other people, there's such a big transformation that happens within you and the people around you that is so powerful. I want to talk a little bit about the community aspect of it as well. So as I said, you are in a huge room full of people, and there's a lot of pair sharing. So obviously you share things that are really vulnerable to you, they're really deep, that can be really, you might have never told anyone before, and you create such big, intense relationships throughout the weekend. And sometimes those relationships are stronger and more vulnerable and more authentic than the relationship that you have had with any of your friends or family by that point. So again, that is so powerful. And knowing that I always had amazing friends, a super supportive family, I felt really loved and encouraged and all of it. I can see the power of these relationships created within the course as a Landmark. And imagine for people that maybe never had any support system, any sort of community, anyone to listen to them, to empower them. Imagine coming across this sort of environment, how beneficial this can be, right? Another point that is really cool is that then you have an opportunity to obviously do a bunch of other courses that they have, and you have an opportunity to volunteer at their courses. So this is really interesting because as you get your transformation, you want more people to have access to this. And then, yeah, I volunteer on a bunch of courses and events. But for me, the best part and coolest part is when I volunteer as a coach to one of their programs that goes for 4 months, and it's called the Self-Expression and Leadership Program, which for the first time I was a participant. And when I completed, then they invite you, do you have interest in being a volunteer coach? I remember I was shaking so hard when I said yes. And it was one of those moments that, there was so much fear about the commitment, the time, what I was going to have to do, how am I supposed to be a coach for 5 people, the commitment of 4 months, and the hours that I had to put into it, not getting paid. And I had so much fear. And the moment that I really listened to my gut and my intuition saying, I had the fear because I really wanted to do it, and because it was going to be such a big milestone, I said yes. And what happened then was actually I really love being a coach. And guess what? That's when I decided that I could and should be a coach as a career. So, if you ask me about the Landmark Education, I'm like, it is pretty awesome. What else? And I think just going back to a step back to their marketing strategy, it is only through word of mouth. So if you look around, never going to see any ads for Landmark, not even on social media, on bus, on newspaper, on a magazine, on the radio. So again, why somehow this created such a bad rap is because they rely on you to bring friends and family, you sharing your transformation, you inviting everyone along. And like I said, a lot of people think that's really weird. And I think some people got so confronted about the fact that they go around saying it's a cult, it's weird. I don't know. It's fraud, whatever the words out there. I have been doing their courses for the last 5 years on and off. I haven't done any courses in about a year. But another thing that I wanted to share was when COVID hit in 2020, me and most of my friends or people that I still have contact with from Landmark Education, we were so empowered. And by empowered, I mean, we are not going to let something that is happening worldwide to take me over, and to like destroy my life or whatever, put me down. So that's when I started for real with my coaching business. A lot of my friends from Landmark started businesses. I don't know, like all sorts of things, like people, like we were not as upset or depressed or whatnot, based on outside worldwide events, which is what I am a huge advocate for. When you have this inner power, you're going to be able to cope with the world events, your community, your circumstances, your physical reality in such a way that you're still powerful, that you still feel in charge, that you still feel like anything is possible, that you still feel that you are the owner and the creator of your life. And these are some of the principles that I bring to my life, to my coaching business, to the way I live, to the way I speak. And that's why I'm doing this podcast today. So it got a little bit intense. Like I said, most of it was not planned. It was literally my personal experience. As the other shows, I say, try things for yourself. Have your own experience. In order to have an opinion about it, why don't you go and test the waters without talking about things that you don't know or don't understand? So that's my invitation to you. If you want to talk about things, just go and experience them for a bit. first. It's not just doing research. It's not, I didn't go and read a blog about what someone wrote about Landmark. No, I went and did it for myself. And as everything else in my life, if I'm here talking to you about, it's from my own personal experience. And it was from being brave and courageous and learning and testing the waters and failing. So again, that's my invitation to you. If you want to have a juicy, delicious life, that you fulfill and that you enjoy yourself, you can't just sit and wait for a miracle. Okay, that's it for today. Send me your comments and questions. I would love to hear from you.